Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to get a publisher for your book. Lining up a publisher isn't easy, but believe in your book and stay patient, and good things are bound to happen. By the end of the video, you will learn all about the importance of book proposals, how to line up a literary agent, and why you should get ready to face rejections left and right when trying to line up a publisher. And stay tuned until the end of the video for a resource I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. If you're interested in getting a publisher for your book, the first step is to write a book proposal. A book proposal is a roadmap for the book. It explores so many different areas of your book, what it's going to become, who it's going to target, your ability to sell and promote the book. It's all included in this book proposal. This one document features so much information, and it's really for agents and publishers to figure out the marketability of your book, the audience for your book, and the impact it could have. Book proposals are typically 20 to 50 pages long. They cover an overview of the book, synopsis, a biography about the author. They cover comparable titles, other books that you compare your book to, the audience for the book, the author's platform, which is the most important step in this process. Yes, the author's platform is the most important step because publishers want to know that you have the connections, network, and marketability to sell and promote this book. And sample chapters, along with a table of contents. So they do like to look at sample chapters. It's one of the benefits, actually, of nonfiction proposals compared to fiction proposals. I don't typically deal with fiction books, but when an author is pitching a fiction book to a publisher, they actually have to have the book pretty much finished, the manuscript done. With nonfiction book proposals, all you really need is the sample chapters at the very least, along with all these other elements in place, but you can actually get the book sold while you're writing the book, which is a nice change of pace. After you finish your book proposal, you then send it to literary agents. And there are different websites that you can use and find online that will tell you which agents are accepting proposals, the kind of projects they've worked on and represented. You really want to find agents that work in the space that you're interested in inhabiting with your book. You don't want to find a literary agent who represents science books and try to pitch a sports book, for example. That's not a good connection. There are some generalists that do a lot of different types of nonfiction, but by and large, a lot of agents will focus on very specific niches and spaces, and you want to make sure that you're finding agents that will be able to successfully represent your book, that have sold similar books in the past, that have represented books like yours, and understand the space. The agent then turns to publishers and works with publishers to figure out who might be interested in taking on the book. And there are so many different factors that go into play. It's so frustrating to deal with the process because you will get feedback left and right. Oh, I wish this was more like this. I wish this was more like that. I wish the book did this or that. This is your book. You don't need to change it. At the same time, it's maddening when you face rejection left and right, and you start to wonder, is this worth it? Is this worth writing? Is this worth bringing this book forward? Is there an audience for this book? You hear those stories about authors who pitched and pitched and pitched. My literary agent, Joe Perry, not the Aerosmith musician, but the literary agent, he was recently telling me a story about a project that he was representing, and great book, and dozens and dozens and dozens of publishers passed. For God knows what reason. Sometimes you don't even know, sometimes it doesn't make any sense. So it requires a lot of vigilance and self-will and belief. You really need to believe in your book. If you want to pitch successfully and get your book sold from an agent to a publisher, you really need to believe in your book. You really need to dig deep and stick with it, because otherwise you're going to get people pulling you in all these different directions, and then you're going to have a book that doesn't even feel like your book anymore. It's a different book. You don't want that. You want to pitch and sell and write your book. Here's the thing, though. If after all these rejections and you're not getting a publisher lined up and things aren't working out, that's not the end of this story. You can still self-publish your book. You can follow a different process and still come to the same place. Ultimately, the most important thing about a book is getting it published in a really strong state, the strongest state possible, and being able to bring your message into the world. And just because you published a book through a traditional publisher or you went your own way and published it self-published, it doesn't change the impact of the book. I've worked with so many books that have been self-published that have been so strong, so powerful, that have found a great connected audience, that have helped to change the life of the author that wrote them. That didn't get taken away because the book was self-published. And in some cases, self-published authors actually make more money in the end than traditional publishers do, just because of the way the money is divided up and the way that everything filters down. It can be financially advantageous, and it can be also exciting for an author to own and oversee the entire process instead of leaving it to a traditional publisher to guide the process themselves. So if you're finding that traditional publishers aren't taking your project, aren't picking it up, aren't accepting it, aren't moving forward with it, self-publish is still a great option, and you can still do so many things to position yourself for success, even if your book isn't traditionally published. So don't lose faith in the book. Trust your book, trust your story, trust your vision, and stay true to it, and eventually good things are going to happen. If you want to learn more about how to get a publisher for your book, you definitely want to check out a course I recorded. It's called Good Book Proposal. The website is goodbookproposal.com. You can click the link below. In that course, I talk through the entire book proposal process. I go in depth on finding literary agents and talk a little bit more about the mindset needed to move forward in clarity and confidence with your book. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.